Okay, hi, welcome today to a class where we are going to be doing a revision. That means we're going to recap and look at all the grammar that we have learned. And we know that in the past lessons, if you remember, we looked at talking about tourism, we looked at traveling and speaking about places that we have been to, and how to talk about places. And how we feel about those places as well. So the main grammar that we looked at also was when we give advice, we say that you have to do something, or you don't have to do something, or you must, or you should. So this was the grammar that we learnt when we were talking about places, telling people where they should go, what they should do, what's really important to visit. They must see something. They have to go here. So that's the grammar that we are looking at so that you can be confident when you tell someone where you think they should go. You want to recommend, you want to advise them, give them your feeling about a place because you want them to see it. So how do we tell people that you want them to see this place? Okay, so let's look at the grammar. The first one that we are going to start with is when we talk about the word, the modal verb should. So you can see should is used with the verb, okay, with an action. So for example, you should visit, you should see, you should read this book, you should travel to South America, you should book your tickets online. Okay, so when I say should, I know that I'm telling someone that something is very, very, very important. They should do it. They should do this action. Okay, and usually the subject will be you because I'm telling someone you should travel to Australia. You should stay at this hotel. You should visit the park. Okay, should. Now we also have another one, have to. Have to. So have to and then the verb. For example, you have to visit the museum. You have to see the botanic gardens. You have to try the local food. So have to is very, very similar to should. They're the same words. But just remember, this is one word, should. This one is have to, and then the action. So again, it means that something is very, very important. I'm telling you that you should do something. Okay, it's a positive, both positive sentences. And you can see that we have a subject. So the subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. But when you're giving advice, the subject will be you because I'm talking about that person. You should do this. You have to do this. Okay, so that's how we use should and have to. Now, to do the negative of have to, it's don't have to. And then the verb. So, for example, you don't have to buy a ticket. You don't have to book online. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to speak the language. So when I say don't have to, it's a negative, and it means that it's not important, okay? It's not necessary. It's not important. And again, the subject would be you because I'm telling someone what I think they should do, what they shouldn't do. Now, again, the negative for should is we add the not. So you should not, or you could say you don't have to. Okay, so that's how we can make a negative. So we'll just make a negative of this one as well. Okay, so for the should, we know that we just add not. You should not. And again, they both mean not important. You should not go to this area. It's very dangerous. You should not try street food. It's not good for some reason. Okay, another one is we have can. Can. So can means that it's possible. Okay, that if you want to do something. So it's a little bit different to should, because I'm not saying it's important, but I'm giving you an option. If you want, you can visit the park, you can walk along the river. If you want, you can try this restaurant. It's really good. So I'm just letting you know that you have an option, and if you want, you can do it. Now, to make a negative of can, we add the not, but you can attach it to the can. So it becomes you can't smoke in the building. Okay, you can't use bad language. You can't swear. You can't make problems. You can't bring your bag maybe somewhere. Okay, so it means that you are not allowed to do the action. Okay, so again, this is the main action, and I'm letting you know it's not possible. You are not allowed to do this, okay, because the law does not let you, the government does not let you, the business does not let you, okay? You're not allowed to do it. So that's how we use these words. So you got should, have to, and can. Now, these are called modal verbs. The reason they're called modal verbs is because they're not the main verb. They have another verb with them. So remember, it's should verb, have to verb, can verb. So they all have the main verb here. Okay, should, have to, can. So remember, should and have to are very similar. They both mean that something is important. Whatever that main action I'm talking about, it's important. But can is if you want. Okay, there's an option. And we know how to make the negative. Okay, so should, if you want, with the negative should, you can make it shouldn't. Okay, you shouldn't do something. So you can also attach the negative not to the word should. Okay, so very important, not important. And the same thing with have to. So we can put have to. And you can see with the negative, you don't have to. But remember, if the subject is she or he, I'm talking about maybe your husband, he doesn't have to. So just remember, it's doesn't have to. Okay, he doesn't have to go through check-in. He doesn't have to carry his passport. And as we said, we talked about can. And the negative for can is cannot, or you can attach it, can't. Okay, so those were should, have to, and can. As I said, the very similar ones are should and have to, but can has a different meaning. Okay, something is possible. You're allowed to do it. Okay, so is allowed. Okay, so let's practice it with some sentences. So I wear nice clothes, but I don't have to wear a uniform. So I wear nice clothes, maybe for work, but I don't have to wear a uniform. So you could see don't have to verb. That means it's not important. Okay, so I can wear anything I want. I don't have to wear a uniform. The tourists can't smoke on the tour. Okay, so can't verb, it's a negative. That means they're not allowed to. It's prohibited. Okay, it's against the law. They're going to get into trouble. You're not allowed to smoke on the tour. You're not allowed to smoke on the bus. You can't smoke on the plane. You can't smoke in a restaurant. Okay, so negative, the tourist can't smoke on the tour. But they can outside. At lunchtime, I can eat with the tourists, but I don't have to. So this is interesting because it's got I can verb. So if I want, I'm allowed to. I have the option. There's no problem. I can eat with the tourist, but I don't have to. So that means it's not important. If I want, I can do it, but I don't need to do it. It's not important. I have an option. I can do it or not do it. I have to. I have to know everything about the city because the tourists ask a lot of questions. So no, I have to know. So that's very, very important because that's my job. I'm a tour guide. So I have to know everything about the city so that I can give the information to the tourists. So it means this is very, very important. I have to know everything. Okay, and then we've got some more sentences. The hotel is terrible. We shouldn't stay here. Okay, we shouldn't stay here. That means it's not important. Okay, we don't have to stay here. We shouldn't stay here because it's not a good hotel. We shouldn't stay here. We should leave. Okay, we should find another hotel. So you could see it's a negative, shouldn't verb, and the subject is we, because maybe I'm talking about me and my friends. We shouldn't stay here. She doesn't speak the local language. She should. Yeah, she should do a language course. Okay, so I'm saying it's really important. She should do. It's really important because she needs to speak the language in the country, the local language. So she should do a language course. You shouldn't rent a car because it's very expensive. Okay, so I'm saying it's not important. You should not do this action, rent a car, because it's expensive. And I can make another suggestion. You should rent or you should take an Uber instead, or you should catch the local transport. Sometimes the hotels are full, so we should book a room in advance. Okay, that means it's really, really important because the rooms, they're going to be full. So it's really important we should book a room in advance before we arrive at the hotel. Okay, here are just some extra sentences. I have to attend English class from Monday to Friday. Okay, I have to attend my course. So that means it's really, really important. I have to go to work. I have to feed my children. I have to prepare myself. That's really important. I can stay in the class during the break, but I don't have to. The students shouldn't be talking when the teacher is talking. Maria should wake up earlier because she is always late for work. I have to learn English every day. Okay, really important. It's a necessity. It's necessary. At my job, I have to wear a uniform. The car park is terrible. I shouldn't park there. I should arrive at 5 p.m. to my office. We should keep the English class clean and shouldn't talk loudly or eat in the class. I shouldn't go to work because I'm unwell. I should review my English notes. I should go home now. I can wear anything I want every day. When it's hot, we should drink water. I should go to the bookstore on Monday. Should we go to the beach today? So remember, a question, you always start with the verb. Should we go? I'm suggesting to someone if this is what a good plan. I don't have to work on Friday. I should go to work every day. Okay, so that was talking about these modal verbs, should, have to, and can. And remember, we can make them into a negative. And remember, we can also ask the question with it. Should we go to a movie? Don't you have work tomorrow? Can't you come to the party on the weekend? Okay, now another thing we learned as well, if you remember, was we looked at learning about these words, somewhere, something, and somebody. So let's read a paragraph. Okay, so we've got this little reading about space tourism. And we're going to practice these words like something, somewhere, anybody, anything, if you remember those kind of words. So there's always, if you want, you can read with me. There's always some new somewhere. There's always somewhere. Okay, so that means a place. We don't know where, but there's always a place. There's always somewhere new to visit on Earth. But maybe you'd like to do some really different. So maybe you'd like to do something. So again, we don't know what the activity is. Remember, thing means the activity. So we don't know what activity, but maybe you'd like to do some activity, okay? Any activity. We don't know which one, just in general. So maybe you'd like to do something really different for your next holiday. Space Adventures is a space tourism company And they sent somebody. So, and they sent somebody. So remember, body, this word here means a person or someone. They're the same words. So they sent somebody into space 10 years ago. Since then, 6 more tourists have traveled with the company, and hundreds more tourists have reserved flights in the future. Okay, so if you remember, the rule was that if we had a word like somewhere, this word here, the where, whenever it's at the end of a sentence, where, at the end of a word, sorry, it's talking about a place, just in general, somewhere. So you could say, for example, I want to travel to somewhere in Latin America. I don't know where, but just a place, somewhere. So where is about a place. Now, something, we have to look at this word here, the thing, is about an object or an activity. Yes. So, for example, I want to do something this weekend. Do you have something planned for the weekend? So, do you have any activities planned? Do you have a plan? Or I have something for you. That means an object, a gift. I want to give you something. Okay, so thing. Now, if we have somebody, remember the body, this part here, it's talking about a person and a person in general. So, for example, I need somebody to help me. Can somebody tell me the answer? Does somebody have a pen? Okay, so I'm asking just any person in general. Okay, so that's how we use these words: somewhere, something, somebody. Okay, so now we know how to give advice, and we know how to give advice because we're using should, have to, and can. They're all used to give advice. So to give advice. We know that we're giving advice, we're saying should and have to. But when we talk about necessity and possibility, it's can. So can is talking about what is possible, what I'm allowed to do. Okay, so to talk about possibility, to talk about necessity and possibility, I use can. Okay, we also know how to talk about places, people, and things. And that's when we use these words. That's when we use these words to talk about places, people, and things. So places, people, and things. By using words like somebody, something, somewhere. Okay, these words, so this one was here. Let's practice using some more sentences. So if you remember, we looked at some vocab to do with traveling. So in Puerto Rico, the US dollar is the national currency. That means the money that they use. What's the currency? What's the dollar? Is it dollar, pesos, yen? What's the type of money? The currency. Get a work visa. So we know when we travel, we need to have it just lets us know that we are allowed to come to the country, that the government has checked us, and that we are good people. We're allowed to enter into a country. It gives us, okay, yes, you can enter the country. Some countries need a visa, some countries don't need a visa. In most countries, cars drive on the right-hand side. So the right-hand side of the road. So not on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side. Some countries drive on the left-hand side. You can have a driver's license. So that means that I've passed the test and I can drive. I have a driver's license when you pass the test. Luxembourg is a multicultural country with 3 official languages. So multicultural means that there are many people in that country from different countries in the world. Okay, so this was just some vocab for traveling. So currency, visa, right-hand side, license, multicultural. We talked about types of holidays. If you remember types of holidays, there's so many different kinds of holidays that you can go on. So what are types of holidays? Camping. Okay, so that's when we go out, we have a tent, maybe we sleep outside somewhere. Okay, not a hotel room, it's like in a tent. A type of holiday is camping. What's a type of ticket? Sorry, hiking is a type of holiday as well. So hiking means I walk up a mountain or a hill. And sightseeing. Sightseeing means I'm looking around the country. I'm going to all the touristic places. I'm to the park, museum, to many different beautiful places to look at. Sightseeing. A type of ticket. So when we buy tickets, we can buy a single ticket. That means only one way from one place to another, and that's it. Or return. That means that we go somewhere and then we can come back. We can return. So types of tickets. And we also looked at something that you can buy on a holiday, souvenirs. Okay, they're objects, they're something of the country so that when you go back to your country, you can give gifts to your family and friends, or maybe you just want to remember the country that you went to. So souvenirs is like little gifts of the country that you went to. And other people on the holiday, well, you'll have a tour guide. So a tour guide will tell you about the city. They will show you all the great places. And a tourist. A tourist is someone who is visiting another country. Okay, so now we can talk about visiting another country. And we can talk about tourism. So, and we can talk about tourism. And tourism just means traveling, going to a different country, experiencing a different country. So we have some questions here, and let's look at some responses. So how about going on a camping holiday? So remember, when we want to make suggestions and talk about holidays, so how about going? So I can say, how about going? And then whatever the place is. So remember, it is a question, you know, how about going to... Yes, it is. Enjoy. Yes, it's going to be the weekend. So good. So how about going? So this weekend, how about going to the beach? I'm giving someone a suggestion. How about going to the museum? How about going to the movies? So how about going on a camping holiday? A response would be yes, but I don't like bad weather. I prefer sleeping in a hotel. You should visit the beach. So we can also suggest by saying, you should visit the beach. You should visit the markets. You should visit the museum. You should visit somewhere, a place. Okay, again, I'm telling someone where I think is good to go. And someone could reply, yes, but yes, but the disadvantage, that means the bad thing, is that it's very crowded in the summer. Can I make a suggestion? So that means, can I give you an idea? Can I tell you what's a good idea? And a response would be, sure, what is it? So yes, what is it? Why don't you go hiking in the mountains? So why don't you go, and then whatever activity, why don't you go hiking? Why don't you go swimming? Why don't you go driving in the hills? Why don't you go surfing? So remember, with the verb go, we use the ing to the activity verb. Why don't you go verbing? And a response to that could be, that's a really good idea. I need some exercise. Okay, good. So that was the review that we had. Again, in this review, we were talking about using modal verbs like should and have to and can, and then the negative to that. And it just means I'm telling you if something is important, that you should do it, you shouldn't, or you don't have to do it, it's not important. Or if you want, you can, or you're not allowed to, you can. So I'm able now to give suggestions, I'm able to give advice, and we're able to talk about holidays. We're able to talk about the places that we went to. We know about the money, the currency. We know about if we need a visa. We know about other people that are traveling, if they're tourists or tour guides. And the types of holiday that we can take, different types of holiday. We can take camping. We can take a relaxing holiday in a hotel. We can take an adventurous kind of holiday. So there's lots of types of holidays that we can do. And yes, so giving advice and giving suggestions, especially when you're traveling, because when you've had an experience, sometimes you want to tell someone about your experience and you want to tell them, you should go there too. You should try this. You have to see what I saw. It was amazing. So I'm wanting to share. You're going to share your experience with someone, but not just tell them what happened, but you're going to advise, give them ideas, suggest to them that they should go there, see that, do that. Okay, so now you're more confident about speaking about traveling and anything to do with going to places. What did you see on your holiday? And recommending it to other people. Okay, so that's all that we have for today.